enforced.
Seconder,
Second.
seconded by Councillor Brownlow. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. Do we have any declaration of conflicts of interest this evening? Hearing none, we're good. We have no correspondence. So we'll move right into the new business. And the first one is recreational land use planning for the Zealand property. So do you want to elaborate on?
Well, I guess it's basically, I know we've had previous chats about this, but just a discussion on how you want to approach it. If you want to approach, there's obviously consultants or companies that do this, and they can design the land, you know, whatever facilities you want to put on there. It would be a process, but it's all covered under your CCDF funding. You know, and I guess really, you know, when you approach them, you have to have an idea of what you want to put there. So, you know, are you putting another soccer field? Obviously, the baseball field's already there. If you take over land ownership from the Keswick Valley Rec Council for the baseball field, I mean, you could add that into the mix and, you know, put up lights or things along that line. So I guess it's really what it's all about, is just a general discussion of what you think should be there or what you know, what it should look like. Because there was chance about doing a boat launch as well, I think, at the back end of the lot. That's why I'm suggesting maybe approach a consultant or a company that designs rec spaces and have them come in. Think it'll work.
Let's ask the question then of what are we going to do with it? What's on each one's mind, what we do with it, yes? That's a good one.
What's the PID number on that?
Couldn't tell you at the moment.
What does it matter?
It's right beside the ball field.
Upstream.
So does anyone have any thought of, Councillor Adams?
I think the idea of getting a consultant in is a good one. The nature of the land, the shape of the land can all impact what we do with it. And I think if we had a consultant come in, perhaps meet with us for an hour, toss around some ideas of things we've considered, have them look at the land and come back to us with a few ideas of what they would recommend. Because it could be that some of the things that we think, i.e. soccer field or what have you, may not be suitable just because of the land itself.
Okay, so would we wait for this expertise before we put access into it, or?
I would certainly, I would put access in like right away, just so if there is a consultant, they can get down in there and take a look around. I know they can access it from going in through by the ball field, but that's something they can start like sooner than later, just for the fact that you need to have the access and you can start developing the land without even knowing what exactly it's gonna be yet.
So we should start that in May or June and put access into it off the road?
Yes.
Does that sound logical, everyone? Councillor Brewer?
I would just like to see some, even a small green space, just small, you know, something like a person, like if they're going there just to relax, can just sit on a bench and a little bit of trees around them and that's it, they can run away from home. They call it the runaway green space.
It's not buildable property. I mean, it might be a little bit out of the road, but it has a chance of flooding every
Yeah,
20
that's what I
years.
know.
Yes.
The concern I have with developing an access any further than what's there is depending on what the ground is gonna be used for, the developed access might be in the way. That's the only consideration.
So your thought is to do nothing until we get some expertise?
That's what I would tend towards myself. It's not that bad of a hike down in there, it's a bit of a hill, but to me, I wouldn't put a piece of machinery on there until I had somebody go and look at it that knows how to develop property.
Is that the general thought?
I think I'd put culvert and put access in.
I think there is a culvert now, but
The culvert's there because Mr. Hanson put in about 25 or 30 feet of road and then it stops.
Okay.
And then it's kind of steep.
because there's gonna be a difference if it goes in straight, if it goes in with the curve, it can all impact it depending on uses and the land itself.
do we have the right of way to go in through by Arnold Fees and all that on the road that's there now?
To the ball field?
No, we have no access only off the highway. So I guess at the end of the day, maybe just get some professionalism before we do anything, is that? Or put a roadway in, because our CAO will need to know whether to go get some professionalism started for spring, or whether to have a contractor ready to start finishing the road in the spring.
I'm not as concerned about having access in there and grubbing the land off, because even if we didn't switch up the idea, they can move all that stuff, move the road, move the culvert, take it out completely, like that could be done as part of the plan, but getting in there and getting a little bit done might get us, other stuff that has to happen anyway, isn't necessarily a bad thing. I've been involved in construction for a number of years that, then putting the road in, taking it out in the same month is even, it's feasible and not launch or anything, so it's, I'm kind of indifferent on that.
I get what you're saying, Jared. The thing is, if, to go to Cheryl's point, if we're gonna keep part of it a green space and we grub it out, then you gotta try to recapture it too, right? So,
Yeah, I would only grab out the stuff, just that short, small growth stuff, I wouldn't go back to the tree line, I would just, pretty obvious where that
yeah,
grown up spot starts and the actual like older stuff is, I would clear off all that.
We also have environmental concerns, we have to stay so far from the stream, and
Go in.
we can't, I don't know if it's 100 meters, we can't go any closer than that, so.
There's certain things you can build within the buffer, but you can't necessarily cut within a certain amount of buffer, and you can't put in like facilities, so the environment would need to be involved no matter what, and most contractors, as soon as you get them to do that, would have to pull a permit and ask anyway, they should.
so that's roughly, what, 3.5 acres, something like that?
Might even be closer to five.
Yeah, it might be closer
Okay.
to 5, so 5, 5.5.
Yeah.
What do you want done in the spring, Councilor Downey?
I would just get access, like build a somebody can drive in, park their things, and do what they need to do. Long term, I'm picturing maybe a little bit of supplementary parking for the ball field, and, you know, a little bit of a picnic area parked by the water. And maybe we want another sports surface, or maybe we just want path through the trees for a walking trail.
So you're leaning toward just put a driveway in so you can get off the road?
Yeah.
And are you leaning to the consultant end of it too, or a professional to?
I mean, even a good contractor could probably help with that much too. if we
Yeah.
Go into the consultant route. You know,
Okay, Councilor Brownlow?
I agree, access and contractor, consultant, whichever way we wanna go, somebody that has.
Well, the contractor would be a whole lot less.
Yeah,
Just somebody that has some expertise and can come
Hold
to
it.
council with an idea.
Okay, Councilor Brewer?
I agree with contractor too, because it would be a lot more reasonable, they do know what they're doing, you know. I agree. But another question is, what do we have for bathroom facilities?
Harry John's,
Okay.
I wouldn't build a structure,
No, I wouldn't either.
Reddy John's.
Too bad Arnold wouldn't sell that piece between him and McKeel's.
That's down the road. Councilor Edwards?
I don't know enough about it to to say anything. I'd have to see it.
Yeah, you're gonna take a drive up the 104.
Okay, but do you have an address?
Sure, there's one somewhere.
There's one kicking around.
Yeah.
You
It's
could
just
probably-
above the rec center, because it goes to the rec center.
We can give you a house number next to it.
Right.
Can't right now, but we can do that.
It's where,
What street's it on, what road's it on?
just going up.
Solomon?
So, Councilor Deputy
Cool.
Mayor Ford?
One thing to consider about having a contractor versus a consultant is a lot of contractors are short-term hurry up, get as much done as they can, and then move on to the next project. And you'd have to really, it would be quite a process to vet out a contractor. I'm consultant for a layout on a few acre plot isn't that expensive, and then it gives them direction that we agree on, instead of going there and going, I didn't think they were gonna do that, or why are they doing this? And I can see conflicts arising if we don't agree on the layout before we even start. You might not have a full plan, you might say, leave this space with nothing, but at least we've agreed on that it's being left as nothing, and then we're gonna develop this part. That's the only thing I'll push out for a consultant can do that.
I tend to agree with you.
Because I would agree if I was doing it myself, I would just have a contractor do it, and I'd kind of give them some direction, and it would probably suit me just fine. But when we're this many people around the table, I think we need to come to an agreement, yeah, we're happy with this, and then they can have direction.
When you're doing that, you're pleasing yourself because it's your money.
That's right.
So, yeah, I agree with that.
Different perspective. If it were me, I would hire a contractor and tell them what I wanted.
Sure.
But for a bigger group, I think we'd have to agree on something.
And you lean the same way.
I do. The two words that come to mind are experience and expertise, and the two aren't the same. So you might have a contractor with lots of experience in moving land and grubbing, but the expertise to make it into a legacy, whatever it's going to be, is where the experience comes in. And I don't think contractors always have that.
So, do you have anything to add in?
I do, and,
Okay.
just take this for what it is. I think I know an entity that would probably, offer its services to help consult and develop a rec space. And they're down the road that way, in the city of Fredericton, so. They do offer services, so you might get a good deal.
Okay, that's your lane.
That's my name. But I'm just saying, it'd be worth an approach or a chat.
So I'm sure this will come back to council in some kind of a
Yes.
professional form. I guess we've kind of set what we think of,
Yeah, that
not
approach.
really the use of it, but how to approach it, I guess.
That approach stops polluting costs as well, because we can get a quote on the consulting and then a quote on the contracting with specific plan, because you, XYZ contractor, and you make changes all the time, that's not what we meant, oh, we shouldn't have done that, that's not what we meant. Our costs can quickly eat up what we're really saving in a consultant, depending on the contractor.
Okay. So we'll move on from topic A to the next one. Everyone's good with that? Okay. The Ignite Land Identification Project for Central York. So maybe we'll start with you. You have had some chat with Ignite, right?
Yes. So
Meeting
Ignite,
tomorrow afternoon, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
So Ignite has started this, a pilot project. They gave us some funding for economic development, and they approached us. It's an interesting scenario. If we upfront $6,000, which we did budget in our economic development line, we'll get an extra 20. So there are parameters on what would be approved as a project, but basically what it does is it matches up the community with a consultant. The consultant comes in and basically does this project, what was outlined. And the project that we kind of figured out between Ignite, us, and Hanwell, they want to do the same thing, is identifying land in Central York.
Nice.
So that's the,
So it's gonna kind of be a combination, I understand, isn't it, to get larger funding like Central York and Hanwell?
yes,
They'll do their own land, we'll do our own, but it's gonna be hooked together with the one,
I'm not sure that part, but potentially. I think they didn't want to tell it was both Hanwell and the CEO from Hanwell and myself, but that's the idea of the project, is identifying land.
yeah, I kind of thought it was a joint project, the way they're talking, like
Okay.
maybe with the same professionalism, but two different entities and properties.
So that's the idea of the way that the funding we spend is, identifying, obviously there's lots of land for sale in Central York and down the road. And part of your strategic planning, it would all kind of line up and the directions that you go in with your future planning and your usage of the CCDF funding, things like that, would all kind of line up, so.
questions on this, Deputy Mayor?
What's the purpose behind identifying land?
I guess areas where a certain land for sale is located, there's been chat in council before about developing, another boat launch or trying to,
So it picks out like strategic locations
Yes.
within,
yes,
okay,
yes.
And some of them may never come for sale.
Sure.
But they can take the map and they can identify.
And also for anybody looking at, maybe opening a business in Central York, here's a great spot to open a business or whatever they may plan on doing here, which, you obviously hope for, especially with your property tax rate being as low as it is, hopefully that will draw some people here. Or maybe just new residents, it'd be nice to have a report on the land and it lines up with your incoming municipal plan and zoning bylaw as well, so it's a good avenue to go in.
I think it's a part, identification and inventory, isn't it, kind of run together?
Yes. That was too fast. We had to talk about something else.
Yeah, we've got,
I think it's strategic, and I think it's to our advantage for
Yes.
sure.
Absolutely.
And serve our purposes for a number of fronts moving forward.
And the majority of it is free funding, which is a bonus, so.
any further? So we have a lot of time left. Do we dare add another,
Go for it.
one got a topic? Wow, we're all spinning from the holiday season, I think, here.
Yeah.
We have to wait for the fire study, right, for
Yes,
whether, before we move any, or try to move.
you should wait, yes.
Yes. And that's probably a year
Hopefully within this year,
within this year.
yes.
Okay. And then we can kind of see what lines up and make some recommendations. Okay, any further thought on that?
Well, when you brought that topic up, it does make me wonder, service-wise, what would change for certain areas, such as Green Hill Lake to Grub Road or Green Hill Lake to even Crab Mountain for that reason, whether it was still under Noble Nackwick or ourselves. I don't think the response would be much different, yet we're paying money out for that service.
We're paying 75 or 85?
I think it's 76 this year.
In fact, there could be argument made that the service might increase if we took at least a portion of that area back, because we'd actually get there faster.
So you're under the impression that we can probably service the area within a very, very short time frame, as well as,
If it's a structure fire at Crab Mountain, we'll say, or even, we had one at Green Hill Lake, just past Green Hill Lake Road. Our truck arrived first, we're the actual truck that pumped the fire. They sent what they would have sent anyway, so we're kind of paying for a service that we're actually doing anyway, and they would come as mutual aid anyway.
and that's not economically beneficial to our residents most of the time.
No, it's not.
True?
True.
Okay, that's something we have to keep in mind, that we're here for the benefits of the residents' tax dollars.
Time-wise,
Yeah,
between
that's
the two
valid.
areas is a grub road.
This is something that the study is gonna identify though, right?
We didn't need a study though to do here.
No, but when we had spoke about this before, for taking over all the other areas, we all agreed on the study. So I think instead of getting ahead of ourselves, just take a step back and wait for the study.
Oh, I'm not saying get ahead of ourselves, I'm just saying,
We're not making any decisions
No,
to do that
didn't say
yet,
the
so
word.
we're waiting.
I think the study's required.
it gives a solid basis for a decision.
Data driven.
You have, I guess when you make that decision, it was easier down here because it was so close to two fire stations that it made sense. But when you go somewhere else like Crab or Estes Bridge, you gotta have the data to back that up so you're accountable. And the residents need to be comfortable with what recommendation council is making.
It's
Not
just
just
hard,
a willy-nilly, so.
oh, sure, but it's just hard seeing it under a station that's further away and takes longer to get there.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
But we're 2 years old.
Yeah,
We're still finding our way along, and we keep trying to get better each week and month and year, so, and I think we're doing a pretty fair job
oh, I think so.
at navigating with that, so.
Right, Ken?
Yes,
You have more details than I do.
just a minute.
And you have to give lots of notice in Ackwick, I think it's at least a year,
What was the
just
time?
before we can even get that.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
February 16th, I just wanted to mention that we're having the official introduction of the new fire truck to Keswick Valley. So we'll be pushing the truck into the hall, probably finding a way that the public can be invited to do that too. We have two long-serving members we're going to be recognizing that day, David Wellwood and Neil Lacroix. They both achieved 25 years. We've already recognized David for his 25 years, which is a provincial medal, but his 20th, we have the certificate now from Ottawa, so that for his 20th. So we'll push the truck in, we'll recognize two long-serving firefighters. It is open to the community to come in. We've formally invited Keswick Ridge as well, Keswick Ridge Fire Department. And then we're gonna just have some cake, and we should be in and out of there within an hour. So it's just a chance to celebrate their successes, put our new truck in operation officially, and just have that little celebration.
And there'll be some social media stuff circulated beforehand, so people will see that as well.
We're hoping the MLA and MP can be there, fire marshal's planning on coming, and hopefully the mayor will be able to come, and you're all welcome to come as well.
It's the first new truck in Keswick Valley in 18 years, so it's a big deal. Most of our members have never seen a new truck.
quite a thing, and it's quite a truck.
We have all of our senior officers, but for one, trained on driving it now, so
Soon.
they'll soon all be trained.
And then on the February 11th council meeting, we're having the King Charles III Awards.
Well, good.
And just to fill you in on that, you know the person that we nominated and they've been accepted. And apparently, Richard Ames have selected two more candidates that they wanted. So we're gonna do all three here
Nice.
on February 11th. So it'll be right first thing of the council meeting, so why not?
Well, I was gonna skip that one, now I can't. It's my birthday.
Well, maybe we should have cake here
It's a
too.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wayne's brownies or whatever they are.
It's better than cake.
Noted, birthday cake, February 11th.
I'll say no.
We've got a good 5 minutes left, so Dan, if we want, is there?
Well, I don't know if this is the place for this or not. If it's not, stop me. I'm wondering if we should set up a predictable time when the fire chiefs would come and give a report. I know that talking to Harry Farrell last night, it's quite scheduled when he goes and appears before council, which I think is a good idea. And I know we've tried to get an update from the police too, but I think those are important factors, even with ambulance, to be able to, it's not so much about accountability, but it's about communication and information, so that we can speak intelligently to people within our ward as to what we're trying to do to increase services.
How often does Harry do the village? Is it quarterly?
Yeah.
Quarterly. Yeah, it might be nice to have something scheduled in advance, so we know that September or whatever is the day he comes in, something like that. The chiefs, I know both of them would be more than happy to kind of give a little synopsis of what's going on in the area, so. Good
I
for
know
everybody
Ken's
else.
kind of been waiting to hear when he's coming, he has materials ready.
Yeah.
Good idea. Noted.
But I think ambulance and police are also ones we need to hear from quite regularly.
And that's where public safety committee
Yeah.
may change a bit of that, hopefully for the better. Kick it around. The what was I gonna say, just like that, anyway, that happens occasionally. I don't know. Go on.
It'll come back later.
It'll come back.
Or it won't.
Tomorrow. Anything else?
You telling me that one dusted on later? You didn't-
Oh, yeah, the street lights up on the Capitol.
Is the second one up that we added?
For 617? Or,
The 104 for the radius? No,
yeah,
That's
that
not
one's
up.
all-
The pole is there now.
is the pole there now?
I couldn't tell.
Okay, so it's close then.
Of course.
Then I had another resident ask for one for Biddy Hill. And didn't I come up on an accident Sunday night? Yeah, Sunday night where a woman hit a deer right there.
Dustin, you don't have any sense of, yet as to whether the ride share stuff's picking up?
I haven't got an update from Naquik Area Wellness yet. I know they were working on their year-end numbers. Haven't heard anything from Suzanne from the Service Commission.
Yeah. I think that the services for the underserved is really important within our community, and I know it's not it's a concern, but it's not a primary concern. It's definitely a concern we want to look at. I noticed that Halifax Regional Municipality just opened up, I think it's close to 100 pallet houses they're called. I don't know if you saw that on the news or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a very interesting concept. They spent $7 million, which is a little beyond what we could do, but the concept of being able to help people that have no other alternatives, and as prices get higher and living conditions get more difficult, I'm not gonna be surprised if we have an increased issue with homeless people or people struggling to make it. And I know there's that, it's easy for us to say, well, it's social development's problem, and part it is. But it leads me to wonder down the road, what can we do as a community to help people that are really that desperate that they have nowhere else to turn? And it's not an easy solution, but it's one that is gonna require a lot of effort and a lot of collaboration and whatever to find a solution that's gonna work.
One drawback that we have is that we don't have any public transit, which is a benefit for most people. It makes sense to have those inside the city limits more so than in our area.
It's, public transportation is in the works. There's nothing I can tell you, but it's being talked about continually, and hopefully something will come out of it, so. I mean, we're mandated that line from the province, so.
It might be something too that we could put towards the MO committee in terms of the concept of out of the cold shelter that could happen if temperatures went to such and such a degree, or power outage or what have you. I imagine that'll be part of the planning for power outages, but just in general, having a out of the cold shelter for people who may be living in tents or less than ideal places.
But I'll just add that sometimes people are in tents because they don't want to obey the rules
Yeah.
to the shelters that are heated, and they get a bite of food and whatnot. There's whether there's alcohol, drug issues, or whatever, they don't wanna adhere to that, and so they just prefer to stay on their own. I won't say that's all, but I think that is the case in some instances. You're just not gonna abide by rules to go into someplace, so. I know what I was thinking now is the community resilience talk on Thursday. I think you all got the email from Kerry Bedford. I can't be there, I have another meeting that day, I can't even do it virtual, so. Anyway, if any of you could tune in, because Harry Farrell is speaking at that, on the, what's the new alert system?
Void.
Voight. He's gonna be speaking on that, so it could be fairly interesting. That's our community, alert system, and we have to buy that, I understand, right?
We're already signed up.
We're already signed up, so. Anyway, if any of you can tune into that, bring some info back, would be great, because you all have the email, it's got the virtual Teams application, so. I apologize that I can't participate in it, so.
We had some information probably over a year ago at Capital District Firefighters Association on that. And it's on that particular thing, Brian, and it's quite a powerful piece of work. So if we had a road closure, we can send that out to our residents and they know about it. Or if there's, even for rec things, if the ball field's closed because of repair or weather.
Or even if the bell line's been cut up the road,
Right.
wondering why their internet's out.
So they may not get the notice.
Okay,
Did they cut it again this weekend?
yeah,
I thought they did,
right, almost the same place, right across from the cop shop.
yeah?
I don't know if that's, anyway, I don't know why they like that spot. Seems to be a happening spot, so.
The bell guy told me there's just enough copper in it to save us some minute. He says, I don't know why they even bother with it.
I think it's vandalism more than value.
We've come across some remnants and gravel pits.
So does anyone have anything else quick? Because we got maybe 2 minutes and we'll close early. If nothing, then could we have a motion for adjournment?
So
Moved by Councillor Dennis, second by Councillor Downey. All those in favor?
Oh,